was standing in there, me and one other woman. I started smelling just an overwhelming smell of urine, pee. It was terrible. And heard a noise coming from the closet. So I did the one thing that you probably should never do and went over to the closet and opened the door and looked inside. The upstairs closet area of the Anders Halfway House. The closet door is closed. It's closed. And I heard a noise thinking that there was a crew guy in here because we were filming. I came in and I just stood here for a minute and it got really, really cold. It's a warm day in May. There's no ventilation in the house whatsoever. And the temperature started to drop tremendously. And I looked over at this woman and I
Will it go around in circles? Will it go around like a bird up in the sky? Will it go around in circles? Will it go around like a bird up in the sky? It went round and round and round and round, just to go around and round in a perfect circle, just to come back around and around and around and around, just to bite you in your butt. You wonder what's going on. You're just reaping what you have sown. All your recordings and all your videos and all your disrespect went around and around and around and around. As I was saying, it went around and around and around and around in a perfect circle and around and around and around. You move your chess pieces around and around and around and around in a perfect circle and around and around, just to come back and bite you in your ass. They gave it a cute little name. They call it karma. But I call it reaping what you have sown. Round and around and around and around and around and around. I know the truth hurts. You pretended to be her friend just to get close to her brother, whom you were obsessed with. And when she fell ill, you never visited her. You didn't come and see her, didn't come and check on her until she passed away. You came and looked down upon her in her tomb. That's why they cremate, so that people like you can't come around and see how nice they put them away. Their shoes was matching the outfit. Their makeup was just right. But why did they fix her hair like that? She never wore a wig. Why did they put a wig on her? Why did they put weave on him? Why did they put him on that suit? You came by to pay your respect, to pay your dues, but you never went to visit while the blood was running warm in their veins. Here's a song just for you, especially just for you. In my vein, in my vein, in my vein, in my vein. Well, in my vein, in my vein, and in my vein, in my veins, while the blood running warm in my veins. Oh, in my vein, in my vein, and in my vein, in my vein, while the blood's running warm in my vein. In my vein, in my vein, and in my veins, in my veins, while the blood's running warm in my veins. Oh, in my veins, in my vein, and in my vein, in my vein, while the blood's running warm in my veins. Oh, in my veins, and in my vein, and in my veins, in my vein, while the blood's running warm in my veins. Oh, in my veins, in my vein, and in my veins, in my vein, while the blood's running warm in my veins. Oh, in my veins, in my vein, and in my veins, in my vein, while the blood's running warm in my veins. Why didn't you visit me while the blood was running warm in my veins? You said you were my best friend, but not one time did you step foot in my hospital room. You didn't sit by my bedside and sing me a lullaby, but you came and gloated down on me in my tomb. Believe I'll testify while I have the chance. Believe I'll testify while I have the chance. Believe I'll testify while I have the chance, 'cause I may not have this chance anymore. Oh, in my veins, and in my veins, while the blood's running warm in my veins. Well, they wanted to get cussed out, but I fought my battle differently. They wanted to get cussed out, but I fought my battle differently. The battle is not yours, but it's the Lord's. This is how I fight my battle. This is how I fight my battle. This is how I fight my battles. This is how. And this is how I fight my battles. And this is how I fight my battles. And this is how I fight my battles. And this is how. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by Him. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by Him. And this is how I fight my battles. This is how I fight my battles. This is how I fight my battles. This is how. So your cockamamie scheme, your plot, your twisted plot, your plans, they just won't work. And you heard me say they won't work. Yet and still you tried it anyway. You came up with a plot and a scheme that we ain't speaking. We don't like each other. But your plot and your scheme and your scam, it went round and 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 round in a circle. And it came back to bite you in your ass. Let's get checked. So today is the day you get checked. It's your day to get checked. You sit large, pompous, and proud of your LGBTQRS G X Y Z, a faithful member, bragging about something that God hates. Men with men doing what is unseemly, dropping rags on the floor. Women with women in their 14-foot, 14 stories high playground, doing that which is unseemly on veteran soil. But your plot, your scheme, your trick, your scam will go round and round and round and round and round in a circle and come back and bite you in your ass. You're filthy, you're nasty, you're pompous and proud, and you sit on filth, the foaming brine. And you wonder what is happening to you now as you reflect back on your heyday, as you waddle to the door and you let yourself go and you thought Hertz donuts were your friends, cupcakes, cookies, and pies were your friends. Twists, pumpkin twists with cider juice, donuts without holes, filled and unfilled. The stench of a toilet floating in Blue's Clues and filled with mold. Beds with clean sheets over dirty sheets. Clean pillowcases over dirty pillowcases. Blood splattered on the frames. The stench of camaraderie and favoritism. You don't gotta do it. You don't gotta clean up behind these nasty white folks. Leading a Black Panther regime right under their white noses. Letting Caucasian workers work in filth up to their elbows. Crying out for somebody to take out their spoiled, leaking, filthy stench trash. Clean liners on top of sludge bottomed waste baskets. Body fluids fill the bottom of the waste baskets with a clean liner to cover it up. The stench, the germs, the levitating, floating vomit of an innocent person who had to check into the Heartbreak Hotel, filled with selfish, narcissistic people. Alinganape, wanting something for nothing. As long as I'm secure, I don't care about you. Defamation of character, and I don't care about you. My status quo, and I don't care about you. Be my eyes and my ears, and I don't care about you. I'll drink with, smoke weed with, buy weed from whom I choose. I'll stash his bag in my office drawer. I'll high five him at the strip club. I'll fold $300, crisp $100 bills in a triangle, and I'll stuff them up whom I please. I'll be a big paymaster at the club. And I'll issue you out a reward via company, treasury. And no one will be the wiser. I'll see your area go down in filth. Baked on, caked on, dried on, make you vomit. And we'll turn our head as we sit on filth. We'll use our clothing to wipe our and we'll turn our head as if we don't see it. This is not going to go away. I don't know who made the other go away, but this is not going to go away. We'll get together and make something of hers go away. And we'll all sit back and enjoy the laugh and enjoy the ride. It's a game. It's a game. It's a game. But it goes round and round and round in a great big circle. Fat, obese, evil, atheist circle. You get him, I'll get you. He get you, I'll get him. So be glad that you have joined the LGBTQRXYZT As soon as your feet strike Zion, you snuffing up evil like a wild horse snuffing up dirt. You're in a love triangle right up on the 10th floor, and they're none the wiser as they watch the saga unfold via the cameras that don't blink in a job-related sexual relationship. And when he get the wall-to-wall fever and back-to-back fever, everywhere he looked fever, he said, I got to have that fever. Then you want to purse your big lips together, your flooding skin-tight britches. I love to show my ankles britches. You got to go and form a lie against him. Typing all the way, texting all the way. And who is none the wiser to figure out your plot and your scheme and your trick and your lie that you told? Because you felt used and abused. As you lay secretly in the hands and arms of your ex-coworker. But he wasn't supposed to know that. And he wasn't supposed to retaliate against you for that. Because who would tell him? But a little birdie flew upon his shoulder and whispered it into his ear. Even though she no longer is employed and called in and quit, she let him know the truth. Because in her bosom he lay like a son. You walked in morning after morning, sopping wet. Now, I know what I'm saying, not soaking wet, but sopping wet. Fresh out of the shower with the stench of a plot under your armpits. Dripping hair. Wet satin shorts, sleeping shorts. Draws less. Wet sopping tank top. Bra less. Wet sopping wet feet. Right out of the shower. Sitting in his office with a puddle around your feet. Coming to seduce and entice with dollar signs in your eyes. Who knew? That keeping something clean was the least thing on your mind. So you played with my heart. Now I got a little muscle-bound wrestler who gonna pick you up and spin you around and fling you into the lockers because you broke my heart. And they looking with a vengeance of betrayal in their eyes. As wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Is piercing their hearts. Emotional creatures. Dripping with revenge. Only to be sang the old song. Everybody plays the fool. Sometimes there's no exception to the rule. This time, 'cause everybody plays you fool. I ain't lying. Maybe factual, it may be true. Listen, baby, 'cause everybody plays the fool. And claim amnesia when put in remembrance of what came through that lying mouth. You can roll your eyes and you can stomp your feet. But that's one black nigger you sure can't beat. My ding-a-ling, my ding-a-ling, my ding-a-ling. When I was a little bitty boy, my grandfather bought me an interesting toy. And when I asked him what it was, he said, call it my ding-a-ling, my ding-a-ling, my ding-a-ling. Don't you want to come and play with my ding-a-ling? And now you feel like the utmost fool. And a notch, another notch in that belt. So now it's time to run a whorish regime, a plot and a scheme to get back at the one with over 100 plus notches under the same roof. Down this corridor, around that corridor, down those stairs and up those stairs. The stench of deceit and rot and decay. Go get checked. Because your revenge scheme is fruitless. Now you want to play the victim. As you ran around powdering your nose, feverishly and nervously getting dressed, picking out the perfect suit, the perfect tie, only to find out you're not the only one. And your feelings of superiority turn into a gruesome revenge scam. With a glaring green-eyed monster going and purchasing contact lenses, trying to measure up when you don't understand the philosophy of wall to wall and back to back. Everywhere I looked, I said, I got to have that. There's always going to be somebody younger, somebody older, somebody richer, somebody poorer, somebody shorter, somebody taller, somebody bigger, and somebody smaller. Wall to wall syndrome and back to back. Everywhere I looked, I said, I got to have that. It's never been dealt with. Saved but not delivered. I saved now, but not delivered. I said I saved now. But not delivered. I saved now, but not delivered. Wall to wall and back to back. Everywhere I looked, I said, I got to have that. It's never been dealt with. So it lingers on like a sore that you picked the scab off too soon. You didn't give it time to heal. You just ripped the scab off because you was tired of looking at it. Well, it was itching me. That's because it was healing. But you didn't give it time to heal. Just like snatching a Band-Aid off of a open wound. You didn't give it time to heal. You left it undealt with. You swept it under a rug. You left it there. You let it fester. You let it get infected. You didn't tend to it. You didn't salve it. You didn't doctor on it. You didn't cover it back up. You left it out in the open like a wild dromedary, bucking and braying and kicking up dirt. Love 'em and leave 'em fast. Little red Corvette, baby, you're much too fast. Little red Corvette, I need a love that's gonna last. Little red Corvette, baby, you're much too fast. Little red Corvette, I need a love that's gonna last. Little red Corvette, baby, you're much too fast. Little red Corvette, I need a love that's gonna last. I guess I should have known by the way you park your car sideways that it wouldn't last. You're the kind of person that believes in hanging out once, love 'em and leave 'em fast. That's why I say, little red Corvette, baby, you're much too fast. Little red Corvette, thought I had a love that was gonna last. Now you wanna cry wolf as you sit in your rocking chair. Let me be your rocking chair. I'll rock you away from here. But nobody has been able to tame a wild dromedary whose appetite is insatiable. Addiction. To drugs? Well, maybe. Alcohol? Well, maybe. But wall to wall. Addiction. And back to back. And I'll get what I want and you'll get what you want. I'll receive the cup on the tray as a cupbearer. And you'll receive your arch enemy gone like a freight train. Sorry, Mr. West is gone. To appease your appetite for revenge, we'll hold up a plot and a scheme and a scam. What goes on in Vegas stays in Vegas. We can run the cult that we've been trying so desperately to form. As we sit back and watch the footage, like we're watching free porn. Disgusting. As my friend would say from down in the bayou, and cross the swamp. Disgusting. Man, that is disgusting. Who knew that you was too strong for that devil? It wasn't good enough just to get you out of here. But how come we can't get you out of here and in jail? And in prison? Facing jail time. Facing prison time. Who knew that we couldn't pull that off? Telling you to go back and get back up in that dog's face and ask that dog, what do you want me to do? trying to ensue a black on black fist fight between two pit bulls. He just looked like that. His mama ain't had no food. You might be one, but his mama ain't had no food. So your scam, your plot, your plan, and you wore yourself out. And just like Pharaoh, he finally had to let God's people go. What a blessing and what a privilege. Pharaoh, let God's people go. You pedo. You Zeke the freak. You apostate. And just like Nathan went to David, God sent you a Nathan. And you bucked and you brayed. And you kicked and you stomped. And you said, "This is my playground. How dare you, you peasant, tell me what to do. Keep it to yourself. Stop telling me how to do my job. I see this filth. You think I don't see it? But I got to appease the people. I got to be a people pleaser, just like Saul. As long as Samuel was mentoring Saul and talking kindly to him and speaking blessings upon his life, Saul was the happiest man upon the earth. And as soon as he would leave Samuel the prophet's presence, he would turn into another man. The pride and damnable fall of poor dear Saul. He was a head and shoulders taller than all the other men. Big boss man. You ain't big. You just tall. That's all. Just like Saul. A melancholy, damnable weight of heaviness soul. A people pleaser. A playing both sides of the track pleaser. A swollen belly loving gadget. Strapper. Preference. Gummy bear. Preference. Big bank. Preference. Big bank. Sold to the highest bidder. You sold your soul to the highest bidder. But the grease is wearing off. All good things must come to an end. And when the prophet comes, change comes. Out with the old and in with the new. Down the damn tube goes your plot, your plan, your scheme, your thoughts of irreplaceableness. Never think that you're irreplaceable. No matter how swell you are and swollen you are in your craft, in your manipulation, in your lies, in your charades. And in your no Grammy Award winning acting. It'll go round and 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 round in a damn circle and come back and bite you in your ass. And nobody was bold enough to tell you. So it remained undealt with. And so you took that as your cue to continue on in your craft as a warlock, as a witch, a crystallizer, a palm reader, a dust smoker, a I hate Christians atheist, working in a so-called Christian facility, infiltrating, mimicking and mocking the faith of God's people. Getting mad because one of God's soldiers recognized that a letter was missing from a scripture painted on the stairwell walls. And the story goes that it's been missing for years and years, and no one dared challenge to have it replaced until God sent his prophet, who not only noticed it, but did something about it. And to this day, it's in place. after being out of place due to vandalism and atheism. And so the crooked Christians left it like that. So if he can do this, what else can he do? We got to do something about him. He's a threat to our cult jam. The slave master's plantation. Always had a Mongolian stud who went from hut to hut, impregnating all the slave women, Mandingo style, healthy horse strength like offspring. And so it is today in a modern way. As we scroll back and forth and enjoy the sight. Who knew that the time was running out, that the hourglass was half empty and almost full? Time waits for no one. And a perfect person shines light on my imperfection, my laziness, my filthiness, foaming brine, funky, nasty, selfish way of doing business, shady. Lackadaisical fart and everything that's funky. Demons love filth. There they can nest and hide like a two-legged rat. The pot can't talk about the kettle because they both black under the bottom. So I can't point the finger at you and you can't point the finger at me, and we'll get along just fine. Nasty, funky, filthy, langanape, wanting something for nothing, good for nothing but to be fuel for the fire. Rats, snakes. He earned his wings with his recording. He got what he wanted, but he had to entrap, so he thought. But the words came out freely. Run and tell that. Going in people's lunches, punching in the code, and robbing lunch boxes because your priorities are out of whack. When you can't figure out how to change a flat. Read them and weep. Because you were only told what he wanted you to know. Working and can't pay a phone bill. Can't change a flat, got to leave your car to be towed off within hours. Not days with an orange sticker on it, but hours. They throw up a sign and tell them to go get it. They got to go get it. Because if you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. The favors that he did, they got to go do it for him. The favors that she did, she got to go do it for them. And it's a never-ending saga. The little poked out, wrinkle up belly. Ooh, that thing ugly too. A retort of the mind, which is a very complex organism. But it can retain what the eyes have seen. And it can play it over and over. It's called the mind, which is the sickening soul that lives forever and ever. That wrinkle up, mean looking belly, looking back up at him, tormented him, and reminded him of, at the same time, of how low he'd stoop. As she rung up the groceries, she stuck out her tongue, bejeweled snake, and pulled it back in, hoping the cameras that don't blink didn't catch it. As she flirted with anger and resentment. You beg to differ, but the words could not come out. Seeing how you've lost your credibility, seeing how you have been defamed and declawed. Satan goes about as a roaring lion, seeking whom he may trick, manipulate, bamboozle, voodoo, hoodoo. He walks about from place to place, seeking who he may devour. A cold reminder of what was and what is. The truth that slapped you right in the face. Rescuing a beguiled creature from an entanglement where he almost lost his life because of you. Who wasn't strong enough to fight against the green-eyed monster of a witch. Who jumped out of his vehicle and told him to get away from here. We don't want you here. We don't like you. I'll get you. And by that time, he gave him the benefit of the doubt as he watched a raggedy kitten crossing the street. And he cussed at him again. Get away from here. We don't want you around here. I'll kill you. As his mind went back, he shakes his head and wonders how he got over. How did I get over? I locked it up to hold it condemned. The last hour of the workday. And as soon as the last hour neared, closer and closer, I unlocked it and accused him of vandalism. I had no one else to accuse, no one else to call. So I found a scapegoat, a fall guy, if you will. And I blamed it on him. I got a new dustpan and a new broom. He snatched my shirt off on the way to work and I had to wear nothing but my jacket zipped up, knowing that my ace Boone Coon would give me a new shirt. I sat in the closet all day and begged him pardon so that when I come back home, I won't have no problems. I didn't ever think he would get my phone and find me being not quite the person that he had met on Plenty of Fish. But as I struggle to get to work, I punched it in front of him, cutting him off right in the garage. And the next day, I gunned it behind him, only to have him to spin his head around like an owl and say, I saw you cut me off yesterday in traffic, in the garage, and now you're speeding up behind me at a great rate of speed in the family parking lot. And if that's what I got to do for a pint of Cavassier, that's what I will do. When I come in, I let everybody know as he drop it like he hot that he didn't come here to work. He sits in the closet all day long talking to his boyfriend, trying to make up before he make it home, trying to make sure that the coast is clear. And as an abusive woman cries loudly and screams at the top of her lungs, she forgot she was in the bathroom at work and not in her apartment at home. As the elderly let go of their walking canes and fell backwards, thinking that somebody was fighting in the bathroom. As she tried to patch up her broken, abusive relationship, screaming and hollering. I'm hollering at the top of her lungs as the Bonics flew in the broken English. Sarcasm, the country slang, as it became relevant that somebody done somebody wrong song. And she played the victim, knowing she had struck him as he lounged at her. She struck him first. And when he did what he did it out of sheer fright to protect himself from a wild cat who got caught. The crocodile tears came down because he got caught. And I saw her with my own eyes. She didn't even want to speak no more. She was down for the count as she stroked his fur and accepted a $5 bill that reeked and stench so bad that after she had taken it into the restroom and washed it with soap, she had to take it home and throw it in the washing machine and hang it up to dry. The whole time, Eye on Arkansas was right over her head, right over her skull. She had to choose between flipping burgers and cleaning up a schedule that went neglected. Schedules that's not covered on off days or weekends off. But the same mess you left, you gonna come back to it. Who knew? Daddy's home. Your daddy's home to stay. When you make a god, a little G god, out of a mere woman, you'll always be disappointed because there's only one God, one true and living God. And that's the God of the whole universe. But you made a human being out of your God, and it let you down, 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 down. And now revenge is the only cup that he had to drink.